Welcome to Walking with Nazis. Just imagine if way back in history one of Adolf Hitler's ancestors had mixed their genes with a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Until his generation, these genes remained recessive until Adolf's parents met. Using cutting-edge technology, we will recreate situations in an attempt to answer the age-old question, what if Hitler had been born a dinosaur? We all know the hilarious story between Hitler and his ragtag bunch of comrades, who took part in one of the greatest adventures of all time. After many successful escapades, involving smugglers, treasure, picnics, and much more, they had finally hit the big time, world domination. So let's start the story back when young Hitler was just 7 years old. When Hitler was a child, most of his friends were smaller than him, and soon eaten. He had to amuse himself by staging fake rallies with newts and soft toys in his bedroom, or impenetrable super father room, as he called it. At school, Hitler was never top of his class, although at the same time, Hitler was higher than all of them. Unlike his grades, his head went through the roof. Adolf was never an easy child. If he didn't take to the goat we presented him for dinner, he would throw a mini tantrum, threatening to paint us all. He was a dreamer, one day hoping to become a great artist or astronaut. He drew moustaches on every picture he found. He was just one of those people. He loved moustaches. In fact, later on, he used to make his wife wear a stick-on moustache for, making
Right. Do you think being a dinosaur affected his work at school and the teachers' attitudes to him?
Yeah, they were always marking his work down when he brought it in, covered with dismembered limbs. And every time he ate his teacher, school would kick up a fuss, and we'd have letters home, and calls from the head teacher, and disgruntled parents. Adolf, or as his mother called him, Dolphy, or sometimes My Little Führer, finished school and decided to go to art college. Unfortunately, they threw him out after he ate all the staff and all of its paintings and everyone else's paintings, and the building, and the caretaker's house, the teacher's cars, the teacher's relatives, the caretaker's relatives, past romances, and everybody within a 5-mile radius of the college. But here's the really amusing part. He left the dining hall tables untouched. Ha 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 he. After Adolf realized that the world of art was not for him, he focused his attentions towards the army. Oh dear. During a battle, he was knocked unconscious, and when he later woke up in hospital, he discovered that Dinotopia had been cancelled, and he hadn't even been in a real war anyway. It was just a simulation doctors were using to test the mental strength of dinosaurs in war environments, as a cheap alternative to tanks. In a fit of rage, he vowed to never trust the Weimar Republic again, and was overheard by a young woman next to him. After just a few seconds of conversation, it was clear they were destined to be together.
Yes, when we started going out, I had no idea he was a dinosaur. People always commented on how tall he was, not to mention how green. I'd always thought it was a skin disorder, but he broke the news to me one day while he was eating an old lady. From then on I knew that he would become a great astronaut. I know what you want to know. We never did have an easy sex
I didn't
life.
want to know that.
Yes, you did. Well, I'll tell you. He was quite big down there, if you know what I mean. Once I was knocked out the window by his erection. And he'd be shouting, "Who's your Führer?"
That's quite enough, thank you.
His tongue was so long.
Stop! One day, when he and his friends were tossing around...
That sounds rude.
One day, when he and his chums were tossing around... One day, when Hitler and his friends were playing football and dreaming of one day beating England, they suddenly, spontaneously, and for absolutely no reason at all, decided they would conquer the South Pole, and indeed the world. We discovered that they would also have real live waiter penguins, just like in Mary Poppins. You know, well, never mind, I don't know about it, I just heard about it from a friend.
He came home with a big smile on his face and asked what the big deal was. He said, "Honey, are you ready for this? I have an enormous plan coming. It's going to go everywhere. You'll be so pleasured by it all that you'll be walking funny for days. It may seem a little drastic at first, but once you get used to it, there will be a great climax." And I said, "That's interesting, dear. Now stop talking about taking over places and give me some more love."
Jubel ist uns verschrieben und verfallen mit Leib.
Delirious madness possessed the German nation.
Nun als Dauererscheinung. Hitler aber ist Deutschland wie Deutschland.
1 out of 4.
Für uns, unser Oberster.
Still got the confidence. Looks, personality, talent, no.
Für die Einführung der allgemeinen.
I'm speechless.
You're not talented at all at performing.
Die Reinheit seiner Rasse hält. Immer wieder herniedersteigen.
Oh, Robert, I think you just killed my favourite song of all time.
Killed in a good way or a bad way?
I'm afraid. Well, listen, killing is never good.
Und dass man die Wahrheit über Deutschland belegt.
No, really dreadful. And I'm saying that to be kind because you will never, ever, ever have a career in singing.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you.
Well, you can tell me all you want, but I won't believe you.
Remember these words, you're not a singer.
50.000 Mann auf den Baustellen.
Not in a billion years. There are only so many words I can drag out of my vocabulary to say how awful that was.
Ganz Deutschland erfasste, überall herrscht seit einem Jahr Regen.
And that sounded like Stevie Wonder with a really bad cold.
Und für den deutschen
You don't like a man, you look like a man dressed as a woman.
So I look like a drag.
You do a bit.
Yeah, well, the lad came along, didn't he? He started off as some virtual unknown, a freak, and then, hey presto, in everyone's good books saving Christmas. Who'd have thought having a big red nose like that would have been so useful? No, I wouldn't have guessed that he'd have used it in the fog. What? Thought we said Rudolph.
Wir wollen nicht lieben, wollen nicht spenden. Ich habe deshalb es abgelehnt, jemals vor dieses Volk hinzutreten und billige Versprechungen zu geben. In uns selbst allein liegt die Zukunft des deutschen Volkes. Wenn wir selbst dieses deutsche Volk emporführen durch eigene Arbeit.
Hitler decided the next important place to occupy would be the Hebrides and the Isle of Man. Up until this point, Hitler had been keen on the idea of eugenics, until he spotted these islands' inhabitants, and on second thoughts decided inbreeding wasn't a good idea. The Nazis then focused their attentions on Iceland, knowing they would need great stocks of king prawn rings. They also wanted to take advantage of the great range of frozen meals from just £1. Hitler had a plot to call all Icelandic missions to his own record label, Mein Kampf Records, and sign them there. Magnus Scheving, creator of Lazytown, and Sigur Rós had already signed, but Björk was resistant and released a song in protest. This is a recording of Björk's original song from 1944. She released it in protest of Hitler's invasion. Yes, she is older than you think. Well, what happened after that, we'll never know. Hitler completely faded into obscurity. No books were written about his escapades, no tributes sung to this often misunderstood Tyrannosaurus. And no TV stations called UK TV History repeat endless hours of World War II footage every night. Okay, he was a psychopath and a megalomaniac, but at least he's given cable television enough material to run until World War III.